Dear Derry, welcome to Thursday. Yeah. God, I was at chicken earlier tonight. A buddy of mine was he was asking because he sends me reminders every Wednesday to say, "Hey, it's Wednesday, chicken's tomorrow." And he's like, "It's not getting annoying, is it?" I was like, "No, no, especially not now because I can't remember from what day to the next what day it is. Especially during the holidays, it's bad enough to not really have a I don't want to say a work schedule because I do have a work schedule. It's just very different from any work schedule that I've had before. I mean, when I was working at EA, it was very tick-tock, very regular. Um, Now my work schedule is extremely chaotic. And, I basically record when it's quiet and there's no telling when that's going to be. It's 10, 15 minutes here, it's 2 or 3 hours there. It's just this shotgun pattern of, all over the place. And so not having this clearly defined block of time of I'm at work, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, that is consistent from one day to the next, it makes it difficult for me I mean, I know when the sun is up and when it's not, and that's about it. It gets harder and harder for me to tell whether it's morning. I mean, I can tell when it's morning because the light is going that way in the backyard, or the light is going that way. I know because that is east and that's west, from where I'm sitting. Um, so I can tell from that when it's morning. But beyond that, it is very difficult for me to tell what time of day it is, if it is anywhere near midday, and it is almost impossible for me to tell what day it is. I have been thinking that today is Monday all day, even like an hour after I have looked at the clock, or the calendar on my thing and seen it is Thursday. Having had another friend of mine saying, "Am I going to see you with chicken tonight?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, absolutely." And like 15 minutes after that, I can't remember what day it is. Crazy. But chicken has become kind of my set point. Um, and it's tasty chicken. I very much like the sauce. What I get are, like, depending on how hungry I am, I will either get 5 tenders or 7 tenders, and I tell them that I want it just slathered in this sauce. Sometimes I will say a soup because I like a lot of. So I just have this thing about my food has to have a certain moisture content sometimes, and so especially fried things like deep fried chicken breast tenders, they need to have a lot of sauce on them, or they just dry my mouth out. I hate it. Um, and just dipping is not good enough. So anyway, big soup of sauce, and it's very tasty. It's got that just a little bit of heat. Hang on. For those of you who have never been to Wicked Chicken or Clucky or Smoke Eaters, because they all have basically the same menu. University Chicken, it's all kind of the same place. Anyway, they have a scale. There is mild, traditional. I think it's nuclear, atomic, traditional death, thermonuclear, and global thermonuclear. And then if you take this scale and you shrink it down to about this big and you move it way down here, somewhere up here is where what is, depending on where you go, is the 911 challenge, the Smoke Eaters challenge. I think if you watch the episode of Man vs. Food where he goes to Smoke Eaters and eats the really spicy chicken, that is the challenge. So there is that. Anyway, if I'm in the mood for just a nice tangy with a little bit of heat, I always get traditional. And then if I want it hotter, I get the traditional death because it's the same tang but with more heat to it. So that's because I really like the vinegar tang of the two. Anyway, that is 5 minutes of me talking about chicken. So kind of. Anyway, last night I finally got Kerbal Space Program installed. and started kind of playing around. Actually, it was earlier in the day yesterday. It wasn't last night, but I wound up playing it, for a pretty good while. After about an hour or so, maybe, I got 3 Kerbals up in orbit. Nice, fairly eccentric orbit. I mean, it goes from 150 kilometers out to 450 kilometers. So it's kind of eccentric, but it's not too bad. And then I ran out of fuel, so I can't get them back. I don't care. They're probably dead by now anyway. I was going to send up, parts for a space station, and that took me the rest of the night. I worked for hours just trying to get that damn rocket off the ground. I don't know what then I started doing more study on center of mass and center of thrust, and it's like, okay, all right, I see now what I was doing wrong. I'll figure it out. I don't know. Meh. I think I'm trying to push too much into orbit at one time. It's way too heavy, because I've got several habitat modules together. No, I think I just need to split it up. I mean, there's probably a huge reason why we as humans have not just built an entire big toroid space station and put a bunch of solid rocket boosters around the thing and just launched it into space. It should be that easy, right? Anyway, so I was kind of playing Kerbal a lot last night. And then, let's see. We've got, next week, we start, the podcasts start up again on Tuesday and Friday. Tuesday will be, next Friday, will be, back into the portal, which is our EverQuest Next and EverQuest Next Landmark podcast. Woo! That'll be starting up again on Friday. But before that, on Tuesday, we will have our next Star Citizen podcast. And that one is really kind of cool because we've got our new intro. We have our season 2 intro that Mr. Perfect and Geek Domo and myself did. Because Domo was like, hey, can you do a La Fontaine voice? And I was like, you mean in a world? And it's like, yeah, I can do that. So he gave me this script, and so we've been kind of working on that. And Mr. Perfect has got I think this chair is coming apart. The hell is going on to this thing? Okay, no, it's fine. That is some really harsh weed, man. Really harsh. The other thing, aside from the Star Citizen, anyway, Star Citizen intro, Geek Domo published up on YouTube kind of a preview thing of it. So I will put the link to that in the description below so you guys can check it out, because we're all pretty happy with it. Lastly, something that another friend of mine was talking to me about today. For a goodly portion of today, actually, he was asking me. He said, "Hey, have you played Endless Space?" And I was like, "No. I mean, I've heard the name before, but I haven't really seen anything about it." So that's what I have to say about that. I decided, okay, I'm going to go and try to, look this thing up, see if I can find out what it is. That tea glass is empty. See what I can find out about it. And so I found a couple of things. I went to their website and I saw Dungeon of the Endless and, there was Endless Space, Dungeon of the Endless and something else and blah, 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 blah at the bottom. And I kept trying to click on Endless Space and it kept going to Dungeon of the Endless because I think their website's a little messed up. But I decided, okay, well, I'm certainly not going to buy it until they get their stuff sorted out. But I decided I would go and look up, because, I don't even know if I would be interested in playing this sort of thing. I know nothing about the game. So I went to YouTube and looked up a Let's Play of it, and it's basically, Civilization 5 in space. And I was like, well, yeah, maybe and as I watched more and more of this guy's Let's Play, uh, what was the name of the guy who was doing Arumba is his name, Arumba. It got, I think the last Let's Play episode, because they're like 20-minute blocks, and I was like up to like 10 or 12, and I was like, okay, if this has held my attention for this long, maybe there's a good chance that, I'm probably going to buy it, or that I will enjoy it. Whether I buy it or not, well, if I'm going to enjoy it, hell yes, I'll buy it. So if it looks like I'm going to enjoy it, there's a very good chance. I'm just trying to figure out, is it the kind of thing that I will enjoy watching? Or is it the kind of thing that I will enjoy playing? Because there's a very big difference for me. I like watching people play things like first-person shooters. Not so much Battlefield, but, things that have a plot to them. Things like Dead Space, I very much love. Now, technically, it's kind of a first-person shooter. But, it's just, if the game has a lot of grab, now it's definitely got me that I definitely want to watch it. I know that for certain, because otherwise I would have gotten like 10 minutes into the first episode, and I would have been like, by the time we got into gameplay, I would have been like, no, this isn't no. I mean, I'm, 12 episodes into this guy's Let's Play, and I'm like, okay, yeah. I know that it's definitely entertaining enough for me to watch. So what I'm trying to determine now, is it entertaining enough for me to want to play it and have a lot of replay value? Because for me, Civilization 5 is close. It's very, very close. The one thing that Civ 5 did that pissed me off and made me not want to play it anymore is that as I was going through, this was something I did in Spore. And for all the things that I bitch about Spore, the one thing I absolutely love when you get to the civilization stage is that you set up a trade route with a given city, and you keep trading with them until your relationship with them is so good that you can say, I want to buy your city. And they say, lovely, we would love for you. How much do you want to pay? And you pay a certain amount, and they either say, no, we're worth more than that, or they're like, okay, that's acceptable, or they're like, oh my God, you're so generous. Try to aim for that middle one if you can, because, overshooting it once you, bought the town, it doesn't matter. It's your town. It's not like paying more than, it doesn't get you anything really. You just, you pay the, oh, that's satisfactory amount, and you're good. You've got the town and everybody's fine. If you pay the, oh my God, you're so generous amount, you've got the town and everything's fine. It's no better than, with Civ 5, you can't really do that unless you play as Austria. You cannot take these nation states or whatever, establish trade routes with them, and when you get, a good enough relationship with them, say, we want you to become a part of our country. And then they merge with you. You can't do that unless, apparently, I've heard, unless you play as Austria. That makes no sense to me. Why does Austria get to do that? Why is that unique to Austria? And why, if there was something that thematically made it make sense, okay. But that makes no sense from a theming aspect. Why does Austria, I don't know. Anyway, so I think that's going to be one of the big things. That's one of the big things that keeps me from doing anything kind of civilization based, is if it does that, nope, before I even get started, I don't want to play it. Because if you are going to make me conquer someone else by, if I can't just establish, trade relations until I say, let's merge, and they go, cool, let's do it, and we all become one. No. Nope. I'm done. Out. Off the table. Shoot. Go away. Don't care. I will happily watch Let's Play stuff because he's playing the game. It's his game to play. He'll play it the way he wants to. If he wants to go through and obliterate people, fine. I will watch it with a bowl full of popcorn and be like, blow him up. while I'm playing, there will be very little in the way of combat on my on my games. The only time there will be combat is when I decide that it's necessary. And the rest of the time, no, really don't. No. Nope. So, there we go. 15 and a half minutes of blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so I've got nothing else, really. Hopefully Friday will be replete with better news. And I will hopefully do a lot of recording tonight. I'm hoping that I know that both of my, well, the two of my housemates that have jobs, I know that they both have to work in the morning. So I know that they're going to, well, one is already in bed and the other is about to go to bed, if not already up there. He may be out in the garage getting stoned. I don't know. Anyway, so the two of them will definitely be asleep. I think the other two are going to go watch a movie or something. It's midnight right now. So they're probably going to watch a movie. It'll be another 2 hours before they go to sleep-ish or so. So they might go to sleep around 2, maybe 3, which would give me until 5. So I'd have a 2 or 3 hour window of relative quiet-ish to record. Hopefully. We'll see. I don't know. But I'm going to let you guys go, and I will talk to you tomorrow. And until then, be careless.